Okay, good morning, everybody. It is June 5th, 2025, and I wanted to talk to everyone about Trump's Golden Visa plan. First off, let me say thank you to the new subscribers and thank you to everyone leaving comments. I do really enjoy those. And if you like my videos, I hope you will like this video and subscribe to the channel. Okay, on to the Golden Visa. Let's talk about what is it and will it work? What Trump has said is that he's going to offer a Golden Visa, a Trump Visa, that will cost $5 million. dollars. And for the low price of $5 million, dollars, you will get fast tracked to permanent U.S. residency and put on a path toward naturalization and citizenship. Sounds great in theory, and nothing wrong with the theory. And then what Trump has further said is, hey, if we sell 1 million of them, there's $5 trillion for the government. If we sell 10 million of them, there's 50 trillion for the government. Um, One of the funny things I notice is that Trump has gotten Republicans to fall in love with revenue for the government. This money will not go to you, the citizens of the United States, in any direct form. It will go to the government of the United States. Depending on your political sensibilities, you will see that as a good thing or a bad thing. Um, but let's start examining the plan and whether or not this claim that we could raise $50 trillion dollars and pay off the national debt and have $13 trillion dollars left over is a valid claim or not. For starters, let's start with the idea of the visa itself. Howard Lutnick, his commerce secretary, said over 2 months ago he had already sold 1,000 of them, which is amazing considering they are not for sale. I've been looking around, cannot find anywhere to get one. No one apparently has gotten one yet, but he already claimed 2 months ago that he had sold more than 1,000 of them. 2 weeks ago, he said that they were going to have a website called trumpcard.gov that would go live within a week. 1 week ago, he said they would have the same website, which would go live within a week. I checked yesterday, and there is no such website. So as of yesterday, there is no trumpcard.gov up and running. Maybe there is by the time you watch this video, I don't know. But at the time of recording, it does not exist. And also, there appear to be no sales. When I checked the Treasury statement that comes out, I could not find any evidence of the $5 billion dollars of revenue that Lutnick claimed. Um, it is my opinion that Lutnick is lying. I think he made it up. I could be wrong, but that's it. Uh, let's start addressing the issue of what does the card get you. I gave you the basics. There's some questions I can't seem to find answers to. No one appears to have them. I've checked every website I could, news articles, immigration attorneys, financial. I've checked websites in places like India and Chinese in their English language versions, trying to see if maybe they had any information. There's a lot of questions about this. For instance, the $5 million fee. Do you pay that fee directly to the government? That is what Trump implied with the idea that all the money would come to the government. Or do you have to make a $5 million investment to the United States? That is a very big difference. If it is paid directly to the government, that is how Trump described it and how Lutnick described it. That is one thing. If it is on the other, that means you literally just stroke a check to the U.S. Treasury for $5 million. If on the other hand, it has to be an investment, that means, oh, and by the way, there was a press release put out about it where they talked about, in that one, Lutnick and Trump both said that you would pay to the government. The press release said you had to make a $5 million investment in a, quote, Trump approved, close quote, project. So whatever investment you do has to be approved by the Trump administration. Um, Let me start with another question I cannot find an answer to is whether or not the visa applies just to you. Does it apply to you and your spouse? Does it apply to children? Does it apply to extended family members? Anything like that? Can't find that information either. Again, my basic conclusion is this visa does not exist, and I'm not sure it's going to exist. It may at some point in the future, but as of now, I don't think it does. But I'll get some more on that. Let me start by addressing the basic idea of what is the market for this visa? Is there a market for it? Trump has talked about selling as many as 10 million of them. There's about 8.5 million people in the entire world who have at least $5 million worth of assets. Somewhere in the neighborhood of approximately 40% of those already live in the United States. So the maximum market for people who can afford this is somewhere in the neighborhood of 4.5 million-ish, 4.5 to 5 million people who even theoretically can afford to buy one of these. Now, this would assume that you are a multimillionaire living in another country who are then willing to give up several million, if it is the way Trump and Lutnick have described it, where you are going to pay this money directly to the government. You are then going to have to liquidate $5 million of your assets, pay that to the United States government in order to get residency within the United States. The number of people who have the capacity to do that in a realistic scenario, not just a theoretical one. In other words, theoretically, all you have to do is have $5 million worth of assets and you can do it. But who realistically can do that? I'm guessing it's going to be a much smaller pool. And this would also be people who are already living very wealthy lives in their own country, and then would be willing to give up a large chunk of their wealth to go live in the United States. I'm guessing that's going to be a very small pool of people. I'm sure there are some people who would take that deal. I have no doubt there are some, but whether or not there's no scenario in which there's 10 million. Whether or not there's even 1 million, I would seriously doubt. The next point to go to is, sorry, we've kind of looked at the theoretical numbers. What about actual numbers? Lots of countries have similar golden visa programs. Australia and the United Kingdom, for instance, have them. They charge similar amounts of money. They get literally hundreds of applications a year. Trump and Lutnick are talking about selling millions of these. We know that the UK and Australia combined probably don't get more than maybe, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 applicants per year. That's between both countries combined. So that should tell you something about what the market is for these. But there's an even better example. The United States already has an investor visa called the EB-5. This investment costs about $1 million, costs about 1/5 of what the Trump card is supposedly going to cost. That $1 million also does not get paid to the government. It is an investment. An investment means that it can pay you back money. You invest in a business, a factory, a farm, something like that. You can get profits from it. You also can sell an investment. You own a factory, a farm, a whatever. That is an asset that can then be sold and you can get your money back. If it is what Trump and Lutnick are describing, which is that you will pay the money directly to the government and it will be a source of revenue, then you will never get that money back and it will generate no profit for you. On the other hand, if it is an investment, the 5 million, that's great, but also means we're going to get trillions of dollars for the government. That is gone. That doesn't exist because the money's not going to the government. It might make a little tax revenue off the economic activity that is generated, but numbers would be nothing compared to what they're talking. But with the EB-5 visa, remember, it costs 1/5 as much. How many of those are we selling? Well, since the year 2000, we've sold 138,000. Remember, Trump was talking about selling between 1 million and 10 million. Lutnick had a statement several weeks ago where I think he said something like, he says 27 million or 37 million people who could buy it. That is completely false. There's nowhere near that number of people who could buy it. But the EB-5 visa sells around, over the last several years, has been selling about 10,000 per year. So we know our market for these is somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 per year. Last year they sold 14,000 because they sold under the cap for the last few years, so they rolled the cap over. Who's buying them is the next question. Number one country is China. India is, I want to say they're second or third. You see countries like Taiwan, South Korea, but China buys over half of the EB-5 visas. So if Trump is to put out this golden visa, half, we know from the EB-5, which is a similar product, half the market is Chinese. Now I have no problem if Chinese business people want to come invest in the United States. Great, I'm fine with it. Generally speaking, assuming they have background checks and all that kind of good stuff. The Trump notion, though, that he's going to be a hardliner on China while at the same time rolling out the red carpet is interesting. The other thing is, I was reading through some stuff put out by some immigration law firms, and what they are saying is that people around the world are thinking that this will get them a first-class citizenship. They will not have to wait in line at airports because they have this visa. They will get lower interest loans from banks mandated by the government because they have this visa. Things like that. There's a lot of stuff, none of which has ever been said by Trump or his administration. So the long and short of it is, I think the reason there's so much confusion about this is because there is no golden visa. It doesn't exist. Nor can Trump replace the EB-5 visa with this because the EB-5 visa is created by an act of Congress. Trump lacks the authority to do anything about it. So he would have to, and I don't know if he has even the legal authority to put out this golden visa idea on his own without an act of Congress. I think he actually needs Congress to do it, but let's assume I'm wrong about that. He has to put out a visa that costs 5 times as much as the competitive one, that there is a tiny number of people who can even theoretically get it, and he does not have rules for it. He does not have a website for it, and his Commerce Secretary is outright lying to everybody about it. So this brings me to my final thought on this. Well, 2 final thoughts. One, the Trump Golden Visa does not exist. It is not real. It does not exist. It may exist in the future, but today it does not exist. The website that Howard Lutnick's been saying for the last 2 weeks is going to be there is not there. The other thing is Lutnick is just lying, which is not unusual for him. He does that a lot. But the point of all of this is to get back to this central theme that I've been bringing up over and over again, there is no plan. Trump has an idea, he spouts it out. His administration officials say, oh, yeah, absolutely, we're going to go do this. Remember a few weeks ago when he was going to turn Alcatraz into a prison again? I haven't heard much about that. Remember when you were going to get a $5,000 Doge refund check? I haven't heard anything about that lately. Remember when Doge was going to save $2 trillion from federal funding, from the cut $2 trillion, the federal spending? I haven't heard anything about that lately. Elon himself has even admitted that's never going to happen. So again, there is no plan. There is what idea pops into Trump's head. He tweets it out. His people go on to Fox News. And look, I like Fox News. I actually do watch it. I think they've got some good programming. But they go out there and they say, oh, yeah, this is totally going to happen. And there is no plan. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 6 months you'll be commenting on this video about how wrong I am. And if so, great. But I would submit to you that, one, there is no website. There have been no sales. Lutnick is lying. There is no Trump Golden Visa. He cannot replace the EB-5 visa without an act of Congress. And there is no plan. So I think that is the takeaway from this one. All right, everyone have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.